We're gonna take this in waves and phases. But who are we looking for? Who is John Gambadoro gonna watch when we get to training camp?
I think it's a position group more than a player.
Okay.
I mean, we're all going to look at Marvin Harrison Jr., and there's going to be a lot of oohs and ahs. And I do want to see if the fans relate to him and he relates to the fans the way Fitz does.
Or the way Fitz did.
Oh, my God. People, after practice would end, the fans would just,
Larry!
They would just wait forever for Fitz to come by. And
Scream for
sometimes
him.
he would, sometimes he wouldn't, but they loved him. I want to see if that's the same with Marvin. The cornerback group is the one we're going to watch the most, from Elijah Jones to Max Melton to Sean Murphy-Bunting. And I think we're going to watch that group just to see how they perform as well. I want to see this new tight end, see how he blocks, how
Tip
physical
Ryman,
he
yeah.
is. I think I want to see that. I think you always want to have your eye on the backup quarterback to see how he does.
Yeah. You know what?
With the trade for Ritter. I think that's something to watch.
There was a list at cardswire.com, and they mentioned the Desmond Ritter. And at first, I thought, not. But it is. It's important. It matters. Like there seems to be this belief that it was an upgrade at backup quarterback because last year you were asking a 5th-round pick to do it. Maybe he wasn't ready for it. Ritter's obviously got tons of starting experience in the
2
NFL.
years of starting experience.
But Clayton Toombs, he's got a year under his belt now. He's got a year where he's more familiar with the system. Is there a competition? I don't think it's going to be much of a competition.
He was a cocky son of a gun last year at this time.
Yes, he was.
He was a cocky son of a gun.
Yes, he was.
Which we liked. We liked that. I like
Loved
to
it.
see that. You should be confident in your abilities. So I did like that. So I do want to see that. I really got to see Trey Benson too. Like, there's a lot to look for because I'm very high on his ability to form a great tandem with James Conner. As far as the backup quarterback is, everybody wants their quarterback to play 17 games, and if they do, great. But if they don't, if your quarterback is going to miss an extended period of time, your starter, your season's probably over. There's very few backups in the league that are going to be able to have you play at a high level. There's been some over the history of time. I remember Jeff Hostetler was really good with the Giants when Sims got hurt. There are guys that can do it. Foles with Philadelphia. So there are guys that can do it. But you're always looking for a guy, and I always think like, okay, if you've got to play 3 games without Kyler Murray,
That's exactly it.
can this guy come in and give you a chance to win 2 of those games and keep you competitive in them?
That's exactly it.
And not go 0-3.
And that's what you're looking for. You're not. If it's somebody taking over long term, you're right.
You're done.
Doomed. You're
done. It doesn't matter.
Season's done. But
Season's over.
But chances are you're going to need Desmond Ritter at some point to come in and win you a football game this year. That's just kind of the reality of the NFL.
Could be in the third quarter. Kyler gets hurt and comes out, and you need a guy to lead a drive. Can you lead a drive?
Yep.
Can you take over a tie game in the third quarter and lead a team on a 60-yard drive to get in field goal range?
The guys I'm going to be watching, the corners, absolutely. That's a position group first and foremost. I'm going to say B.J. Ojulari, so I'll keep saying B.J. Ojulari because I think he's a very important player to watch this year. I'll throw Zaven Collins into that mix as a guy I'm going to watch. Didn't get his 5th-year option picked up. One more year, where he gained some experience last year with the position shift. How does he look? Does he look different? Does he look more confident? I tell you, I think a guy that I'm really going to be watching for, I want to see how much of a wrecker Darius Robinson is out there. I want to see how much of a physical freakazoid he is
Can he
on
win
the
the
football
one-on-one
field.
battles?
Yeah, because he looks like a freakazoid, and I mean that in the nicest way. He just looks like a guy who should be an absolute matchup nightmare on
What was
paper.
that word? Freakazoid?
Freakazoid, yeah.
Freakazoid.
Like a freak, but just a little extra emphasis,
Right.
I don't know. It's just what came to mind. I'll be watching him. I'll be watching him to see what he brings to the table. I'm trying to think who else. Who else am I going to be? You mentioned the corners. Tip Ryman is
Zay Jones, Michael Wilson.
Yeah, a little bit, but not as much. I think they're both going to be asked to do a lot this year. I think that competition. It's interesting to see who wins it, but I think chances are both of those guys are going to be on the field a lot, and both of those guys are going to be in 4 wide receiver sets when they're doing that. I think both of those guys are going to get their number called plenty of times.
How about Mac Wilson?
Oh, big time. Big time. I like Mac Wilson. I like that inside linebacking duo
Patriots,
a lot.
Good player.
Good player.
Great tackler.
Smart player.
Great tackler.
Plays with a lot of passion, man. I mean, you remember Kaiser White? Last year, we had no expectations for the Cardinals, and we were right not to have any expectations. We knew they weren't going to be very good. But do you remember that? I don't remember the exact game, but that first moment, I think he got a personal flag penalty called on him when Kaiser White drilled some dude out of bounds, and it was like, this dude is nasty. This dude is.
I don't remember that play specifically, but I remember us talking about how nasty he was.
Kaiser White is here to screw some people up a little bit, and he played with that. You don't want him doing it, in a dangerous fashion, but you also, that word violence that Jonathan Gannon uses a lot. I kind of feel like Mac Wilson is another one of those guys who's going to complement that.
What was the play you were just talking about?
Kaiser White with an illegal hit out of bounds, I think.
Was it preseason?
No, it was regular season. I think it was
season.
Week 1 or 2.
Okay.
I think I might have been the Commanders in week 1.
Okay.
Where he jacks some dude up out of bounds.
I think it was him, and I remember talking about the year Pat Tillman knocked one of the running backs out of bounds in Flagstaff during training camp, and they hurt him and may have ended his season. I think we kind of related Kaiser White to, maybe it was that. But, yeah, I remember when Tillman came in as a rookie, and he was just like, I'm going to make this impression. I'm going to drill everybody. And he was hurting people out there in his first training camp.
Yeah, that was a different brand of football and a different time of football. But, yeah, something along those lines for sure.
Thanks for watching Burns and Gambo. Click to see more from the guys and hit the button in the middle to subscribe so you never miss a video from Arizona sports.